Welcome back to Pour Over Marketing. Here we are. It is July 26th, 2025, and I came loaded with coffee this time. I played it smart. I played it wisely. I've got my coffee in my amazing The Future is Indie mug, and I don't have my Mug of Destiny. I should get one of those. And I also am reloaded. So I will be ready when this thing runs out on me today, which it will. Guaranteed. Okay. Let's get into this. So thank you for coming today. I see I've already got somebody in. Good morning, Serena. Oh, hey, I'm so happy you're here. I am so happy, Serena. It's been quite a year so far. I know we keep trying to connect, and yeah, about a month and a half from now, I should have the time again. Molly will be off to school. We'll have done the big move and everything, and we can get settled in and do our thing. Although, if you want to connect, have a session or whatever, even just chat, go for coffee. We can do that before all the chaos of Molly moving to school. Okay. I put down that I had a subject for today, and I do, but it's not a regular subject. It's not. I'm going to ramble through a few things today. I want to get some discussion going. Last week we had a great time. There was lots of discussion, lots of questions, lots of people commenting. So I know you're the only one hearing it, Serena, but be verbose, jump in, talk. If anybody, and I'm going to say this a few more times, I know it's only you, Serena, at this point, so it's falling. You're everybody right now. If anybody wants to jump on and split screen and ask a question or talk about something, open lines today. Cucumber lemon slushy. Hold on. You guys should just come by for cucumber lemon slushies from my garden. That sounds amazing. I'll have to talk to Maeve and see what the schedule looks like. I got a little hiccup. I think I got it. So yeah, that sounds absolutely amazing. It would be great to connect and like feel normal. It's been a while. So, okay. Few things up front. We went to Omaha again this week. We went there for another concert. This is one thing that's going to change dramatically when Molly goes to school. We won't have to travel for quite as many concerts. It's been a blast. I wouldn't give it up for anything, but my gosh, it eats up time and it eats up money and everything else. But it's worth every second and every dime. You know, this time with Molly is so special. You know, now that she's 18, she's an adult. She's going to be, you know, out of the nest and flying and going off to school and, you know, becoming like she's not already awesome, but becoming whatever she's going to become. So we're trying to hang on to those last few moments by going to things and like going to concerts, which she absolutely loves, and like standing up at the barricade. You know, for Maeve and I, would rather sit out at the back. But here we are. Okay, Serena, I see you. Hey, Chito, good morning. If you want to chat, I can jump on. There's Chinto. Good morning, Chinto. And Serena, you want to chat? You know what? Let me send you. Actually, I'm going to do something I've never done. I wonder how I do this. Present or invite? Invite guest. I am going to do. We're going to try something. We're going to try actual open lines. So if you want to jump on, you want to be a guest, just click that link and you'll pop up on my screen. That doesn't mean I can just put you on immediately. You might have to sit for a minute while I talk. If there's more than one person, you can either sit there and wait to join in, or you can come back. But this is it. We've got open lines now. One thing I want to talk about before I jump into open lines, and I'm going to probably talk about it again. Uh, a big thing that has been running through my mind. Uh, no, you know what? Yeah, I will, because we're gonna actually get into this. But a big thing after our trip, we had some conversations with people there in Omaha, and a few things happened. Number one, a lot of marketing talk, a lot of what I do, what Maeve does was coming up in the conversation. And we were helping these entrepreneurs, like just kind of talking through some things. One really cool thing that I would love to see happen on here is the one guy we were talking to. He basically, when we started talking to him about his business, it was a brand new business. He started telling us like what the model was and how things were working, and then he kind of went through the story of his business, and I loved that. I found that really inspiring. I found that to be something that I think all of you could use. Here you are, entrepreneurs. You've got your own thing going. You've got an art business. You've got a music business. Whatever it is, hearing other people that have started something or are in the midst of starting something, hearing what they do, hearing their mistakes, hearing their successes, it could be really inspiring. It definitely did for us. We talked in the car for quite a bit afterwards about it. Um, so there's that. But the other thing that came up, uh, don't you see it in the thread here? The thing that says StreamYard, that is an actual invite. Click this to join the conversation. Conversation? Station on video. Okay, I'm going to try it again. Did that work? Tell me if you can see it, Serena. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to have to go a different route and send private invites. I can do that. Just isn't quite as easy. So anyway, the other thing that we encountered this week a lot was opportunities for the consulting I do, and how desperately that is needed. But there's also a misunderstanding about that. My whole goal is to help people uh, achieve what they need to achieve. So many are scared of marketing. So many are scared of what that even means. They think it's posting on Facebook, and it's so much more than that, and can be so many different aspects of it. Uh, the thing is, we owned a business. We had a baby store, and with that baby store, for 5 years, we kept saying, "Man, I wish somebody could walk in here and help us. Somebody could have an objective eye, give us some ideas, give us some things to implement that might make a difference." We had a number of marketing people walk in, but they were all trying to charge us these ridiculous sums of money. We paid one because we're like, "Hey, she's saying the right things. This sounds really good." We paid one, and we paid her quite a bit of money, and what she gave back was not worth anything. It was basically the ideas that we already had that we had told her. She wrote them in a document with some funny graphics and said, "Here you go." And it was like worthless. What we needed was somebody, "Hi, Serena. Oh, we're going to get you on here in just a second." What we needed was somebody to like be able to talk about how things works, what doesn't, help us feel good about what we were doing, and give us a few ideas that we could implement, take some of that fear out of it. So that's what we experienced this weekend was a lot of that, like seeing that people really need this, but then they don't understand what consulting is or coaching. They think, "Oh my God, this is going to be something I'm going to be locked into for 5 years." It's like going to a chiropractor where you got to keep going back and back and back and back and back. And it's not. It can be one session. It can be a whole program. If there's a specific goal, I want to launch my book. Okay, well, here's a program. Here's the steps we're going to take to help you launch your book. I did this with somebody actually that had a book that was mostly complete, and he wanted to put it out, and we designed a program where we did everything from getting him through editing, artwork. Serena, you did the artwork for it. Everything, including the marketing and all that. And the book came out, and he's still to this day like, this was the greatest experience. So I made a graphic that might explain it. I've said this before, and I want to explain. This is really what I do. I help you go from being stuck to unstuck. Which one do you choose? And this was actually a big thing for me, was when I started actually consulting. It was this. Maeve said to me, okay, it was like January, few years ago. God, what, 4 years ago. And she says to me, you keep saying you're going to do this. You keep saying you're going to launch it. We need something to happen. We need something to go. And I'm like, yeah, I'm working on it. I'm trying. And I realized I was the guy on the I don't know what the orientation is on your screen. It's the guy on the left, the one that says stuck. That's how it looks to me. And she coached me through getting unstuck. And a month later, I had my first client. And within that month, I had enough clients that I was like, oh, crap, I guess this is a real career. And it was from that I got my VP of marketing position, that like all these things happened. But look at this. A year from now, actually, forget a year from now, between now and the end of the year, are you going to stay on that side that says stuck, or do you want to move over to unstuck? That's when it comes down to, am I the person that can help? I don't know. Or can I direct you someplace? Or can I give you an asset that might help you with that? So there's my graphic. I'm done with the graphic. Let me remove this. Boom. All right. Now I'm not done with the graphic. I'm bringing Serena in. I don't know why we don't see you, Serena. There we are. Hey, Serena. Welcome to the show.
The internet's kind of funny.
Uh-oh. We've got
Hey.
audio choppiness. Hi, Serena.
Oh, it's so choppy.
That's okay. We'll do our best. And anyone else that wants to join in, you just click that link that I shared, and we can throw you in here.
Have a party.
Yeah, Chinto, you're going to want to jump in here because I read what you just said. Serena, you're going to actually address this. You know Chinto, right? Do you know Chinto and Maria?
I don't know.
You guys are Artist Alley people. How do you not know each other?
I'm not sure. We might know each. I'm not good with names.
Okay.
So
Chinto says, I'm not sure I would call myself an entrepreneur. That word sounds too capitalist for me, especially when I'm not making any money. Actually, you're an entrepreneur because you're not making money. That actually applies a lot better. Because entrepreneurs, that's where you start. Capitalist is very different than entrepreneur. Entrepreneur means you've got a small business. You've got a business you've started. And Chinto, you absolutely 100% have. Everybody in Artist Alley, Serena, agree with me or not. I'm not forcing you to agree with me. If you're in Artist Alley, you're an entrepreneur, right? Oh, Serena got choppy again. You are. I answered for. You are. There was my terrible impression of that was Senior Wence's Serena, I guess. I don't know.
I'm back. It's really back. Choppy. It's so choppy, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, if you're selling something or not even selling something, Chinto is rippling.
Well, you might not be selling it for money. You might be selling it an idea. Right. You might be selling it to make a point. You know, like there's it's not just about the money.
Right.
You know, that's capitalism talking.
That is 100% right. You know, I know Chinto thinks he's altruistic and not a capitalist, but you do have to make some money.
We live in a capitalist society, so we are capitalists at the moment, no matter what. You got to play the system you live in to fix it and change it for the future. I'm a solar punk, but I'm living in a capitalist society, so we're stuck.
So tell people what a solar punk is.
Solar punk is people who envision a future where you find a balance between technology and not destroying the planet, and also the cultural divide, living in balance with nature and other people. I think the difference between solar punk and some other people is that solar punk envisions inclusion for everybody, where other people just want this future vision that they envision for themselves, and everybody has to go along with what they say. Solar punk is all inclusive for all kinds of different lifestyles.
Yeah, it's Star Trek. It's what Star Trek, after the big event, becomes, where they at some point go, wait a minute.
Yeah, I think the only downside of Star Trek was that even in their history, society had to collapse before they learned their lesson. But the fact
Right.
is, if we keep letting society collapse, we're going to be stuck in this trauma loop where
Right.
people are stuck trying to learn and find a way to heal from their trauma before they even get a chance to fix those things. And we need to fix those things before the trauma happens, or
Right.
we're
Got
going
to
to
be
stay stuck in.
proactive, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like if you think about the medical society, I mean, like, we don't go to doctors that often. We do go to doctors. I mean, that's what they're there for. But then we go to these alternative doctors that are all about preventative. Like, let's make it so that you don't have the heart attack by doing these things rather than treating it afterwards. And that's really what we're talking about there, is like, why deal with the trauma and the stuff after the fact? I mean, you have to, but maybe do some things now. Maybe do some things to prevent that from happening. Okay. Jose wrote, Chinto, I believe anyone willing to take a risk to start something new business related is an entrepreneur. Exactly, right? Sometimes people don't make money the first few years or the first 14 years. It happens. But you know what? If you're doing what you love and you've got something that has value that you're putting out there and you are trying to get people to quote unquote buy, you're an entrepreneur. Chelsea, you're late, but you're not late. Chelsea did the thing we talked about last week. Serena, you'll actually probably have thoughts on this too, even though you're frozen. Chelsea, I saw you had T-shirts that you put up this week. Was that as a result of us talking about TeePublic last week? Because all of a sudden I'm getting this marketing from you and I'm loving it. Have you ever done T-shirts, Serena?
No.
No. So you don't play in that world.
It's already a saturated market, and I've already have so much on my plate, so
Sure.
I'd have to be something I'd want to focus on.
Sure. What we talked about last week was doing the affiliate type marketing idea. If you're doing T-shirts, it's not like designing, printing, all this stuff. Like, you draw your artwork, you use like TeePublic, and you put up a TeePublic shop. It's a kind of a churn and burn. You put it up there and you move on. Then all you have to do is add it to your marketing mix. It gives you something that you can put on, say, your newsletter to say, oh, by the way, I have a T-shirt. I have a Same People Make mugs. Oh, wait. Here's one of I made on TeePublic. I love indie podcasts. You can get all sorts of stuff that way. So it's a kind of thing, like, if Serena were to go into it, making T-shirts and taking them to Comic-Cons, that's another saturated business. That's something else. This is the kind of thing, it's just having your own shop. You could have 10 designs that once you make them, you can throw them on a TeePublic shop or a Redbubble shop, and that's it. That's it. Just use it to every once in a while say, hey, I've got this. Hold on, we got more things. Something always has to break before we build something new. Yes.
Yeah, we want little breaks. We don't want a system collapse.
Right. We don't want to collapse, but it is true. Actually, that's something that I'm notorious for. I tend to break things almost as they're happening, but it's cracks. It's not burned to the ground. Although I've burned to the ground a few times, but it is that like, I see there's a problem here. I'm going to go break the arm off of this thing because we could rebuild it and make it better, but we could keep things moving in a positive way. Everything does it. You guys, if you've been watching this show for a year and a half, you know that I do it on here all the time. I broke it again today by saying we're going to start taking the things off and allow people to just jump in and join in the conversation.
Actually, a great point to that. Like with my garden, I'm always experimenting. Over here, I don't know if you can see them. I've got 2 sets of banana plants.
Yeah.
This one I left out in full sunlight. None of them were doing well when I took them out of the house.
Uh-oh. Serena's frozen again. All right. Well, she's frozen. Chelsea, I'm going to let you know.
And so I left one out on the patio in full light, and I put one close to the house with shade. The one with the shade grew taller. The one out in the sunlight is So they're each acclimating to the tiny shift in environment that I gave them. And, I think the one that's shorter thrives better during the storms, where if I took the other one out of the shade, it would get shredded up. So it's like breaking things little by little to see what works best in what environments, and then continue to work with that.
Oh my God, Serena, you just added a chapter to my blueprint book. That is a perfect example of marketing. You A/B tested, right? You're A/B testing,
Mm-hmm.
and in that A/B testing, you're finding, like maybe not 100% of this, like putting it in the shade, leaving it in the shade doesn't work as well as moving it, but leaving it out doesn't work either. You found, because of A/B testing, you found what works best, or at least this is the other part of it, what works best now. By continuing to go back to things and look at them and break things little by little and fix them, you will find out ultimately what works the very best. I love that. So, Serena, since I've got you on here, did you have any questions or anything you wanted to talk about? I've got a big one here from Chelsea that we're going to throw on here in a second too. Did you have anything, or did you just want to be my friend? Yeah.
I mean, I can be your friend, but all this week, I have been nerding. I have been absolutely nerding out about everything going on with K-pop Demon Hunters. That movie had one ad. They popped it on Netflix. It's now the #1 movie everywhere. The boy band is now the #1 boy band in U.S. history, and it's not even a real boy band. Next to zero marketing, but they went after the right crowd, and I'm like, that's playing to your crowd right there. That's the magic. That was like the original Lilo and Stitch. They knew that Disney was not going to allow them to have the movie they wanted. So they kind of went underground with it. And then when Disney realized what they did, and they were going to use it as an excuse not to make 2D movies anymore. It was going to be one of the failures that led up to them going to 3D. And when it went so big and it became one of their biggest movies of all time, they were actually kind of mad. And now K-pop Demon Hunters did the same thing, except they knew exactly what they were doing. They didn't market because they didn't want to let people in on the secret. I think it made it very inclusive.
I'm fascinated. This wasn't on my radar at all. Now I'm going to have to watch it, #1. Because look, even Cheeto's on here saying K-pop Demon Hunter was amazing.
Oh my God.
Said the tiger needs to be made into merchandise. If they're not making everything into merchandise, they're fools, right?
They have one stuffy on Amazon right now made by some second-rate person. And I'm like, it's got whiskers all over the place that'll poke you in the eye when you sleep. You need some real stuffies. You need some squishables.
Those big marshmallow guys made out
of marshmallow. Oh my God, yeah. It would make a great marshmallow.
And Chelsea, I've not forgotten. I've got your question. We are going to come back to it. So this is not on my radar. All I know is we went into Netflix and it popped up on the recently added. And I said, oh, K-pop Demon Hunter. I might have to watch this. This seems interesting. And we are not into K-pop. We don't watch a lot of anime and that around here. I watch some here and there. And it's funny. I'll fall into it and be like, oh, this one's awesome. And then I just don't go back to it. For whatever reason, that style doesn't grip me. Right?
Yeah.
But this one, something about it, I was like, there's something about this idea of K-pop Demon Hunter that got me. So you're saying this came out of nowhere, just one little marketing.
They literally just threw it on Netflix and said, all right, let's just see what happens. And it's been out for 4 weeks, and it's #1 for 4 weeks. But it's it's also had a chance to go you have those people that were there first. We were the first to watch it.
Right.
And then people are finding out about it and jumping on, and they're like, oh my God. They did that on purpose.
So the band, you said it's a fake band, but they have...
Well, because they're cartoons.
Right. But they have...
Oh my God, yeah.
Band. So it's
we heard it on the radio yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Sebastian was going crazy.
The Gorillas are... It's actually Blur, and I forget who else combined.
Yeah.
The Gorillas. And when you go to see a concert, it's the animated characters.
They're going to have to do that with this.
Oh, my gosh. And that... when I first heard it with the Gorillas, I was like, do I really want to go to a show where I'm just watching and then I realized their music's so great that I'm like, I would totally go to this. This sounds like the same thing.
I want you to put on a live reaction video to your watching K-pop Demon Hunters. I want to see your face.
Really? Because it's probably going to look a lot like me just watching. Because I'm not. No, you mean I'm going to be like, oh, like that?
Yeah, you're going to be like,
really?
What? And then you're going to be like, and then you're going to be like.
Okay. Yeah. We'll have to see if I'm that type of video guy.
It's going to catch you so off guard.
Okay. We're going to try it. Look at this. We got Chinto again. Gorillaz is my favorite band. Yep. No one can say it's fake. It's not fake. It's the I think it's two guys from Blur, and I can't remember what the other band is, but their stuff is amazing. When I was selling audio equipment, talk about marketing, one of the things you have to do is you have to really hone what your demo is. You're selling audio equipment. I mean, you can put on whatever the popular music is, and people go like, "Oh, that sounds great." But if you find the right songs, the right things that are produced the right way, and you match it to the right speakers in that, it's undeniable. That's when people are like, "Oh my God." And then they walk out of there wanting that music. And one of my top ones was I used Gorillaz because it sounds so good through a high-end system. And every time people would be like, what is this? I need to get this, because I would play things that weren't their popular songs. It was kind of like K-pop Demon Hunter, where they would hear it. It was like immediate obsession. I'd be like, okay, what's the Gorillaz? And this is how you get it. And it's like, it works. That type of marketing works. Okay. Okay. We're going to answer this one, or we're going to look at this one that Jose said. Hi, Jose. Before we go to Chelsea's question, Chelsea has a pertinent question. Chelsea Burton, I would probably recommend occasionally sprinkling something positive within the negative. Oh, this is going to answer what we're saying. Imagine like the news occasionally putting a feel-good story. Let's go back to Chelsea's, and feel free to throw in thoughts here, Serena. I do have a question, but just slip it in if it makes sense for the conversation. It does. I feel like my newsletters are repetitive, partially because it's the information that I want my readers to know, but also I wonder if I'm not exactly sure what I can add that won't overwhelm or burn out my subscribers. Any tips or suggestions? Yes. But before I say them, Serena, do you have a suggestion for that?
I mean, probably similar to what I was doing when I was more on, I'm trying to get back on TikTok now, but it's like, you have your main stuff, which was my art. I would sprinkle in garden. I would sprinkle in trends. You got to kind of make sure it's like with a music track, you got to kind of up and down it. If it's the same tone, people are going to see the same thing over and over again. Mm-hmm. But you don't want to like blast them with something.
And it goes back to, actually, this seems to be the theme of the day, the A/B testing. You're kind of doing that even with your newsletter. You try a few things, Chelsea. You try. So if it'd be easier if I had your newsletter in front of me, but let's say that every time you're doing interviews, okay? Great. I mean, I love interviews. I have shows that are just interviews, right? But then in your newsletter, maybe you go, okay, well, let's go. I'm doing that once a month now. Let's go every other time. I will do something where I share a recipe and somehow relate it back to my thing, but something I think will add value to my viewers. And what you'll find is eventually something will hit. Serena found putting gardening stuff hit for her. There was the artwork. There was the gardening stuff. Those things hit. Chelsea, you know it because you do TikTok. You were doing reels and things, and you were having the same thing when you were doing your cooking things versus just, here's my book. It was a change up. It made it more interesting for people. In the beginning, yes, you kind of go with the same thing every time. We did it with, I've done it where, with our network, we used to have a thing where we had a newsletter, and it was literally once a week I would put out just what the new episodes were. And I found that was repetitive. People were opening it. But then when I added in like just a random one, hey, here's 5 questions with one of our people. Here's a podcast episode just with blank that is only on the newsletter. I would notice my subscriber count go up. I would notice the engagement on it would go up a little bit. If I did it 3 weeks in a row, it would tank. So changing it up, adding new ideas does work. Now, one thing you could do with a newsletter, just like you can do with your TikTok, just like you can do with any of this, is look for some trending topics around what your subject is. That really helps. You can make then a schedule and say, I did it. I actually did it. I haven't put it out yet. For the Substack for this, there's the episodes that go up. There's the transcripts that go up. But then I have a thing of topics. I found trending topics for this type of marketing. And I made a list and I said, okay, for the next 3 months, I'm going to, like, once every other week, I forget what the number is. Don't hold me to that number. I'm going to address one of these trending topics. And I'm going to put something in there that's different. So it's not just this show. It's not just New Media Lab. It is like a blog post that has something. And then I was doing this with Ink Blots, which is that one where I interview authors. And I found that if I pepper in a meme once in a while about, like, how much I love reading and reading's great, once again, it's not boring. It's something that the audience is into, because the people listening to that are book nerds. And they like when I'm like, hey, I'm a book nerd too. You know, if I did it about the subject of the authors, that can get repetitive, but mixing it up is a smart idea. But look for trending topics, just like you do. Serena, don't you do this on TikTok? You look for what the trending sounds are.
Yeah. You look for the trending sounds, but you also look for trending hashtags.
Yeah. Right now, the trending sound is birds. I hear them in the background there, Serena.
That's what I'm watching. We've got like 600 birds, and they're slowly training my dog to let them eat out of the bird feeder without chasing them. So Falcor is watching them very intently, and they are starting to line up around them. And at some point, he's going to go and chase them all off. You can see them coming in, and there's like 100 of them.
Oh my God. I just wrecked my office.
Oh no.
I wanted to show you guys, and I took it off of here. Okay, so this is another thing. This is something that I did for social media, and I don't have it at my fingertips, so I'll have to remake it. I made a daisy wheel of the way you kind of do this, and this is going to answer your question here, Chelsea, I hope. Wait, before I go back to what Jose had said, occasionally sprinkling something positive within the negative, managing the news, occasionally putting a feel-good story. Right. Maybe take, because I know Chelsea's stuff doesn't have the negative mixed in. It might be that it's repetitive information, but that idea is absolutely right, Jose. Adding in, what they do is they have story. Here's a feel good. Hey, it keeps the interest up. It keeps you coming back. If you watch the show Detroiters, they all wait for when the news guy comes on with he does a thing like the idiot of the week. They all wait for this to happen because it is something different than the news. Right?
Yep.
Same thing. Okay. So this daisy wheel thing I was talking about. What I did was I took all this advice. I watched all these different social media experts and marketing experts and what you should post, what you shouldn't post. And they would talk about trending topics and all this stuff. And really what it came down to was you want to have different types of engagement. And this might be what you want to put, Chelsea, as you're plotting out what your newsletter would look like. You say, okay, my newsletter is always, I know you write about werewolves and witches, and okay. So let's say you put, I just got sidetracked because I just thought of Daniel Krause's newsletter. He does a great job with this. If your newsletter is always like, here's a thing about werewolves, okay? This is about my book. I'm doing an excerpt from my book, or I'm doing a flash fiction every time. Well, that can be really interesting. But now maybe you say, you take the daisy wheel and you go, okay, I want to do one that's informative. I want to do one that is strictly for engagement. I want to do one that is strictly entertainment. Okay. You don't have to take all the things on the daisy wheel. Just pick those three. And you say, okay, my newsletter could have all those elements, or maybe I split it up and I do one that is flash fiction. This is one where I'm writing, and I know that people know every first of the month they're going to get a newsletter from me with a new flash fiction. The next week you do the engagement one, where you say, okay, we just did our last flash fiction. Share your ideas. I need new ideas for flash fiction. And you try to get a poll or ask a question or something, and then share something else that is outside of the flash fiction. Okay. Then the third one might be strictly informative. my writer tip corner, and you do that. Now suddenly you have something that they're getting something different each time that's really engaging. Daniel Krause does a great job. He'll do a movie review, then he'll do one about what he's up to, then he'll do one about horror history because he's a horror writer. And I tell you what, it's called Last Krause on the Left. I tell everybody, subscribe to it. I love it. I wait for his newsletters to come out. I talk about Jeff Tweedy's with Starship Casual. He'll play a song. He'll write an original song and be like, "Oh, here's what I'm testing out." He'll play that. He's got a new album coming out. So what he's been doing lately is he'll do a live on his Substack, and his wife is on it. So it's like you watch it and you're just like, "Oh, this is great." Then the next week it might be something he's written. He likes to talk about music, so he might write like a review of an album he just saw, or talk about a show they did, or tell a personal story. Like he mixes it up. If every time it was just him playing his guitar, I would love it, but you'd lose people. So I hope that answered.
I was gonna say there's some TikToks that do a really good job with this. Like there was one that came out just last week that had me hooked. I had no idea that werewolf, like were, just meant man wolf, and where was the original word for man. So you have woman meant female person, and man would mean man person. So the werewolf was man wolf, but then man went and turned into an all-encompassing word for everybody, and woman became this separate entity, and they dropped where, and the only place verbally you hear where anymore is in werewolf, which meant man wolf. So from there they went on tangents, and suddenly you have a whole little side thing that they would pop up and talk about, and it would really diversify everything.
That's a really great example. Like that could be on your TikTok, on your whatever. That's an engagement thing. You inform with this thing, and then you find a way to engage in it. And maybe for somebody like Serena, you go, once they make these suggestions, you pick the one that sparks your mind. And okay, now the were shark just struck my mind, and you're going to release a picture as one of your Substacks of the were shark. You know what I mean? Or the were maid, so like a mermaid, whatever it is. And Chelsea, I mean, I think that would be a really interesting way to do it. Like you're using one where you inform, and then you're playing with what you're informed with, so it makes it feel like they're part of the process. There was a really cool thing I saw, and this is a sidetrack before we get to Chinto's thing. He said there was a really cool thing. There was one of the writers that we were working with, Sarah, did a thing where she went on, I want to say it was Twitch, but see, this could be a thing. If you have a newsletter you're doing it through Substack, you can do Substack Live. So you mix it in. Then one of your newsletters that goes out is a recording of the live thing, right? I just remembered I was going to do a live one today. I forgot. And what she did was she's a writer. So she did a thing where she turned on the computer. The whole screen was her Word program. She made it look kind of cool, like it was black with the green letters, so it looked like old school war games, right? And she said, "I need a prompt." That was her. She's like, "Just give me a who, what, and where." And people that were watching spit a couple of things out, and she started writing. She's like, "Well, I need a name for the asylum," and she wrote that in. And it was cool because you were watching her create this flash fiction, but instead of her sitting there out here doing it, it was as if you felt like you were doing it, like you were part of it. It was super cool. Maybe that's another thing you could incorporate. I mean, you do it with drink and draws and things like that. You know, when you're an artist, I see artists do it all the time. Art Baltazar goes on and he does live drawings all the time. And people might suggest something. He's like, "Oh, wait, yeah, I want to draw poison ivy riding a shark." And he'll just all of a sudden do that. And you're like, that's so cool. You feel like you're involved in the process. Okay. Oh, we're still on this. Giving movie reviews builds on the parasocial relationship. Absolutely. That's why when you talk about trending topics, what's everyone talking about right now? Superman. Next week, they'll be talking about Fantastic Four. If you can give a review, you don't have to be a critic, right? There's a difference between reviewing and critiquing. And even if it's you make your content around whatever that subject is, that's how you get hits. I saw it with Superman this week. I saw people making art or music, or anything, I kept seeing people doing things that were regarding Superman or crypto, especially. They did that, you stayed and watched, right? I saw a stage show. One of our podcasters who did a Superman podcast was at a stage show at a school, and because of the success of Superman, they had one of the teachers walk out in the Superman costume as one of the characters, but not as a character. They were like, this part is being played by Superman. It's Mr. Darcy is being played by Superman. I mean, talk about trending. I was like, oh my God, that's brilliant. That's what you want to do. Okay.
Yeah, Sebastian wants to be the tiger from K-pop Demon Hunters for Halloween. So now we got to figure that out.
Yeah. If anyone's going to figure out, it's you, Serena. Okay. So this is one that Chinto has on here. This is a long one. I'm launching my new IP at the start of Hispanic Heritage Month. Well done. I know what your IP is. That's good. Currently backlogged. Not sure if this would help you, Chelsea, but I'm going to add a fun facts section. That's informative. I was talking about the daisy wheel. It doesn't have to be its own thing. It could be just an element in it. These are the engagement, entertainment, education. These are things you want to hit. Not sure if this would help you, Chelsea. Okay. Since my new IP is Mesoamerican, I'm collecting information about different tribes and their stories. I love this. Not just from the past, but them now. So the Tilder, I don't know what that is. Find things that connect with your stuff, because if they are, I'm trying to read it in two places. Sorry, guys. If they are interested in your work, they'll be interested in what inspires it. Spot on. Spot on. You guys are creators. Think about that. Jose, you're in real estate. Okay? He helped us. He was the realtor on my mom's house, my mom and dad's house. He has things like newsletters and that. This actually works for him as well. An informative section. Yeah, these are the houses I have. Maybe I write a blog piece about how you buy a house. But then what if you have a small section of facts of pillars came from whatever? This type of window is a whatever. That is incredibly good content to put in a newsletter or as a blog post. Okay. One more here. Chinto again. Having categories is great. Doing that for social media so that my posts will be diverse. I have information, world building, introducing a character, making personality quizzes, which you could use in your solar punk stuff, Serena. Art and behind the scenes, what I'm reading or what I'm working on, maybe treating the newsletter like that seems to be a good idea too. It absolutely is. See, this goes back to what is supposed to be happening in July, which I didn't do, which is integrated marketing palooza. That's integrated marketing. You are taking an idea, you're pushing it forward, and you're using all the different assets to work in conjunction. It doesn't mean the same thing is shared across everything, but you're streamlining it into one idea. I'm trying to push this idea. I've got solar punk. I want people to understand what solar punk is, so I make each thing kind of tie together, and maybe I take one aspect of it and I focus on that in general so that it informs people. That's my integrated marketing palooza logo up in the corner. It's a terrible logo because you can't see it on here. It should fill the screen. That's right. Your dog agrees. You know what? I should have that sound effect.
I let him in, and now he's barking out the window.
Of course.
Oh. He's trying to get me to come in too. He's like, "Mom, the sun is out and it's getting warm. Get in here."
Chelsea, did that and Chito, did those things answer your questions about this? I love that everybody's got ideas on this. Do you feel like this is answering the core of it, or are you like, yeah, we're just kind of spinning and kicking rocks again? And let's watch. Oh my God, the dog. So if we talk about content and what's good, look at this show. If you watch what I do on this show, it gets boring to me. It gets stagnant. That's why I thought, hey, let's do this thing where I open the lines. I open the lines, I get Serena. It's a different look. It's a different feel. And now we have her amazing dog on here. We've now created content that I can't take my eyes off the dog. You know, you got to mix it up. You have to be a singular voice, I guess. Like I've got to be consistent. I've got to be me. I can't play a character on here. On some of our podcasts, I have to be more of a character. So, like what we did this week in Geek, I would be a little bit more of a nerdy jackass. Like I mean, it's a part of me, obviously, but I tend to like everything. There, I had to like, oh, Nicolas Cage, not a big fan, until I realized, okay, I got to be true to myself, and went, Nicolas Cage is amazing, even when he's bad, he's amazing. Uh, the guy swings for the fences. I love that. But we had to work out getting a singular voice to each thing we did. Some of the podcasts we did, we had them from the word go. Some of them they had to evolve, and we had to figure it out. This show, I try to be very consistent in the voice and the way I approach it, but visually I try to change it up. Subject wise, I try to change it up. Your dog is making an amazing element. I mean, seriously,
He's
it's
so
amazing.
happy right now. He's so
He's
happy right
outside
now.
again. Okay, let's see. We got comments again. Chelsea said, yes, thank you. Yes, good. And Chelsea, make sure you put an ad for your t-shirts. If you guys don't subscribe, this is something else I'd like to do. Any of you that have your social media, your TikTok, your Instagram, wherever you're the most, whichever one, pick the one you want to build today. Okay, because this is what the trap we fall into. I've got 20 of them. I want to post everything. Pick the one today. I want to grow my TikTok audience. I want to grow my Facebook audience. Put a link right here in the comments of where you want people to follow you. Okay? And I'm encouraging everybody on here to follow them. It doesn't cost you anything. But you know what? This might be where all of a sudden Chinto and Serena go, oh, wait, we've sat across from each other at things. We don't know each other. Because I guarantee you guys have. You've been in the same room so many times. You don't
I've
even
probably seen him. I'm like, I need to see his
Oh,
face.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Good. Chelsea said it makes me feel like I'm moving in the right direction. You totally are, Chelsea.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I watch Chelsea's stuff. I have since I've known her, and she really, she's got the right mindset on all this stuff, and I think you make great content. So doing something like what we're talking about could explode things for you. Let's see. There we go. There is Chelsea's TikTok. So I know you can't click on the screen here, but you can click on the comments. So I encourage you to click on that. Go to @ChelseaBurtonDunn_author. It doesn't need the rest of that stuff. It just needs @ChelseaBurtonDunn_author on TikTok to follow her. And a couple of things. When she posts a video, when I see my friends post videos, there's that thing on TikTok where it says like friends or something, or who you follow. I try to go in there once in a while and just hit hearts on them. Right? We lost Serena. I try to put likes on them so that they know, number one, I'm still there. Number one, two, I'm encouraging them. And the more those likes happen, it's like with any of this stuff. If you're a podcaster, if you're a Substacker, if you're on Facebook, any of these things, when people follow you, when they put a like, when they put a comment, it helps the algorithms. It helps grow their audience. It's something that, like YouTube, I struggle with. I'm starting to get more subscribers on YouTube, but I don't get a lot of comments. I get people that send me comments in my email. That's great, but it doesn't help. It doesn't help me. It helps you. And that's great. I'm all about helping you. But there you go. So follow Chelsea @ChelseaBurtonDunn_author. That's okay, Serena. I lost you, but I'm here. So Serena, put where you want people to follow you. I encourage each of you. I know, Chito, you're launching something. If you have a social media on there, Jose, you've got your realtor business. Put it in the comments right here. And I want everybody to follow each other. Don't put 50 different things. At the end of a podcast, I've started doing a thing where I used to say, oh, where can people find you? And some people would list 20 things. After the first two, you're already out. You go, okay, they're everywhere. And then there were people that are like, I'm on everything at blank. It's like, okay, but what I do now is I say, where do you want the most engagement? Where are you engaging with people? That either means like I'm on Facebook groups every day, follow me there, and you're more likely to catch me, or I'm trying to grow my audience. Okay. I posted my first 2 TikTok videos. I got some okay hits on it. I now went, okay, now I need to actually develop something for this because I actually got some followers. It started to grow. I looked at my Blue Sky and my Threads this week. I love Blue Sky. I go into Threads a lot, but for some reason, like Blue Sky, I really love. I've got hardly any followers on Blue Sky. I've got like 600 on Threads, and I don't even do anything there. So what I'm saying is put where you want people to engage. There's Serena. Here's her TikTok. Follow her on TikTok, Serena Wera Creations. We don't need the rest of that stuff. There you go. I encourage everybody to put where you want people to engage you or what you are trying to grow. And go back to that original rule. I know, rules. I don't love rules. But there's a lot of rules that work. This is a rule that you want to put in, which is always have the last word. There's a rule. I don't like to put rules on things, but that's one that I think maybe it's a guideline. I don't like the word rule. Let's go with guideline. It's a guideline. Always have the last word. So if somebody puts a comment on your TikTok, try to respond to them. Okay. If you've got 1,000 people giving comments, which is amazing, you might not be able to get 1,000 comments in there. That's where you can just give likes and things, but you try to respond. I've talked about this before. I was interviewing, there was a show that did it was a show called The Crit Show. It was a gaming show. And the very first time they did their show live, they did it on one of our podcast marathons. And when we did that, they were brand new. They didn't really have followers. And a year later, they came and did another marathon, and their follower base was huge. And I was like, what are you doing? What is the difference? Because ours was still kind of like slowly growing, and theirs went like shoo. And that's when he said to me, oh, well, I don't know what we do, but we always try to have the last word. And what he means is responding to every comment, a thoughtful response, or at least a response of substance. So, like here, Jose, find me on Facebook, Illinois on the Move Real Estate. I specialize in Northern Illinois, and I have 44 years experience. So Illinois on the Move Real Estate. Go to Facebook, and you'll find him there. Hey, he helped with my parents' house. He was fabulous. Jose's a great guy. He'll really take care of you. He understands, and he's super ethical. You can't do better. So there you go. Follow him. And who knows? You might find your next house, or you might find one that you go, oh my God, my neighbor needs this house, or my friend needs this house. We've got a friend. I mean, we've tried to refer people to Jose that have mentioned they need a house. I don't know who's bought from him. I don't know if they have, but at least if you're following him on there, you'll see the listings he's got. You'll be able to get in there because he does have some great stuff. Okay. But always have the last word. You get something like that. Serena says, or let me give me one like this. So we have a Facebook thread, and Chelsea's asked this question, I answer this question, or the group answers the question. Then I start seeing all these comments, and then I see her say, makes me feel like I'm moving in the right direction. Well, I've already responded to the first thing. This is the last comment. This is where you either put a like or a thoughtful or substantive response. Makes me feel like I'm moving in the right direction. My response would be, you absolutely are. Or, I can't wait to see where this goes. Or, yeah, hit me up if you want more ideas. I'm here. Like and this is just like when we're talking about content. When you get good at this, when you get this game under control of always having the last word, it's not an obnoxious thing. Okay? When you get this under control, you will find the same daisy wheel applies. Do I say the same thing? Thanks every time. Do I always share an article? That gets tricky. Am I saying something entertaining? Am I saying just thanks? Am I informing? What is it? Am I saying something engaging? That's a big one. I didn't say that when I was saying your daisy wheel. Engagement. Look for something that moves the conversation forward. You know, Chelsea says, it makes me feel like I'm moving in the right direction. So maybe I respond, what are 3 things you're going to do in your next newsletter that are different? I ask a question. Okay. I'm asking a question. I want to know, but it makes her think. It causes engagement. It also makes her feel like, hey, I'm seen. That's why you always have the last word. It makes people feel seen, and it makes you an expert. It makes them feel like you're an expert. If you're only sharing interviews, you're not an expert in their mind. If every other thing or every third thing is you sharing your thoughts and you maybe responding to things like, hey, what are the things you're doing? And then you respond to those. This is a great idea. This is this. Guess what? In the minds of your followers, you are now an expert. That makes a big, big, big difference. Talk about engagement. Talk about growing your audience and getting those raving fans. There's a book. Now I got to look up the name. Ken Blanchard wrote the book Raving Fans. So you'll hear me use that as a term because it's just a brilliant term. And the book, Ken Blanchard has written all these business books, and actually everything I've read, I've been like, oh, there's great ideas in here. Some of them are a simple idea. It's one idea, and then it makes your brain explode. They didn't need to write a book. It could have been a sentence. Some of them are these brilliant books that have all these things. The Raving Fans idea is a brilliant book. It is all about how you take the casual fan, the person that comes in and, walks in your front door and they're like, I love this place. And then they leave, into somebody who walks in and is like, this is my place. I'm going to tell everybody about it. That's what I would love you guys to do. Like, share this, tell your friends. I watch this thing. It's, here's what I get out of it. Whether it's I get marketing ideas or I just like, one person wrote to me and they said, I really like how you engage with the people that are on there. I don't really get marketing ideas out of it because that's not really my thing. But I think yours is the best show on. Like Saturday morning, I'm in every time. It's so funny, even though they never show up live on here. They always watch it after the fact. But they said Saturday mornings, my ritual is to watch you. It's like they like the show. They like the content. They're not marketing anything. But you know what? I bet they're getting ideas. Someday they're going to pull the trigger on something and all of a sudden be like, bam, I'm a marketer. Okay, we're at the tail end here. So one of the things I talked about at the top, I'm going to talk about here. I want you to think about your situation, okay? Either you're trying to start something or you've got something going, and I want you to look at where you're at right now and then consider yourself 6 months from now. Are you in the same place? Is it better? What's the difference? How did you get there? So what I do with my coaching and consulting is exactly that. I help you figure out how to go from here to there. I get to show my graphic again. How to be stuck, which a lot of us are. We get stuck. I get stuck with this show. That's why I talk to you guys all the time about I'm intending to do this. I want to grow this. And then I things don't move or I get stuck on it a little bit to getting unstuck. And that's why you hire a consultant or you hire a coach or you go to a coaching session where you get some friends together and you're like, hey, the 3 of us want to do a session and we can just talk about like how we get unstuck. It might be a simple thing like, oh, you need an abundance meditation. Like you're blocked on this. You need that. I had a saxophone teacher. I've told the story before and I'm going to tell it again. I had a saxophone teacher that opened my eyes to this. I had a really great saxophone teacher, like one of the best, probably the best in Chicago at that time. For jazz, he was clearly the best. And I was not. I was good. I was getting better, but this guy was a great. And I was noticing I was going to these lessons and I wasn't progressing. And that's on me, right? I was taking advantage of the knowledge I was being given. I was a kid. A friend of mine leapfrogged me, and his sax teacher got him to do some other things. So I was like, jumped ship. After years with this guy, I went over here. I was like, maybe he can help unstick me. And he technically did. And it all had to do with one thing he said, and it's something that I've lived with since. He said, imagine that your journey, in this case, it was to be the saxophone player that I wanted to be, but imagine it's to be the artist, to be the realtor, to be the car detailer, to be the filmmaker, to be whatever it is. It's a journey. And it is. We all know it's a journey. We're walking down a road. And he was saying, visualize there's a road. There are rocks on the road. What else is there? And I'm like, oh, there's some bigger stones. And he goes, okay, is there any boulders? I'm like, I don't know, sure. And he goes, okay, those are the things that are blocking you. Those are the things that are getting you stuck. The boulder is absolutely something. If there's a boulder blocking your way, you are stuck. And what he said is you have to identify what that is. And that was what his job was. He was the outside person, because I would look at it and go, oh, I'm not practicing enough. And he's like, that's a stone, and kick that out of the way by practicing more. What's the boulder? And he would help me identify the boulder. And then it was up to me to break that boulder into bits and kick the stuff out of the way. Wow. This is how I've lived my life. That's how I got through school. That's how I have done at jobs. Do I often have things in my way? Sure. I've been dealing with a boulder. Well, I've been dealing with a boulder for a while that I keep trying to figure out a way around or under, or I could chip at it. But I think recently I've kind of felt like, oh, I've stuck something into the boulder. I'm really trying to break it apart because I really want to get on the other side of that boulder. And that's what a coach and or consultant can do. That's what I do. So if you want to have a session and talk about what is keeping you stuck, or maybe you have a problem to solve, or maybe you have a goal, reach out to me, rob@smgpods.com. You can write me in any thread, because I always have the last word, and I'll respond to you, and we'll set up a session, and we'll find out what you need. I literally had a group of authors that came to me. There were 3 of them that came to me separately. And what we were talking about, I realized they needed a group session. And I set up a group session for them. And then 2 of them didn't show. So the one got a session for themselves, was great. The other 2, it would have really benefited. It would have benefited the group to have them all there. But I figured out that's what they needed, was a group session. One session with the 3 of them would have made all the difference. Other people, I've had people that had 16-week sessions. We had to keep going because it was a boulder that they could not chip, but they damn well wanted to. So if you want to go from, graphic again, stuck to unstuck, you guys can't see me, but I'm doing this. When I go stuck to unstuck, reach out to me. I'd love to help you out. All right. Oh, there's another comment. Bam. Your Bobby from K-Pop Demon Hunters. I'm going to get that joke when I watch it. Cheeto's laughing somewhere. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back next week. I meant to do Thursday night with pour over nightcap, or whatever we call it. It's not nightcap. Ooh, I just realized we should do a nightcap one. Do a late night session sometime. Happy hour. Pour over happy hour. This week got away from me. So I am looking for when I can do this next happy hour. Watch your feed. Watch for the invites. I will share it at New Media Lab. I will share it at my Facebook page. I've now started, if you start noticing my threads, my Blue Sky, I'm starting to share this all over the place. Watch for it. And if you guys have questions, even if you want to talk, Chelsea, you want to talk about your newsletter, set up a session with me. Let's sit down and talk about your newsletter. I'll pour out ideas. We'll get you so that you are up and doing the thing. All right. Thanks again, you guys. Have a great weekend. Go do the thing. I'm trying to find a good closer for this. I got it. Have a cup and make the world your oyster. That's a terrible one, too. I got to workshop these. I'm going to A/B test them. Thanks, guys.